Capturing leads just became easier, and I don't mean with this. Let's go. So, I have this workflow that I created in order to start capturing leads, a process that used to take me long hours and a lot of stress to make it in minutes. So, in the old top process, you would go into Google Maps after finding the right niche. Let's not do it in Mexico because it's not good. See, I mean, I used to do this all the time when I was a salesman. Now, let's say that we're looking for CPAs. So we go ahead and we click on CPAs. Now, there's an amazing tool. In the past, we would go ahead and take this information, then we would go into our Notion database or whatever database, Excel sheets, and we will input each one by one. This will take a lot of time. Sometimes not all of the information will be here, so we will have to go into the website and get more of the information. Luckily, nowadays, there's a lot of extensions that can help you get this completely for free. For example, I'm using one that's called Instant Data Scraper. I'm gonna leave the link down in the description. And what this does is you can click here on Infinite Scroll, choose the right table. Once this is highlighted, you can just start crawling. It's gonna fill this data, and then you can just download the file. So now I've already imported the data. As you can see, it brings a lot of data, which is phenomenal. Now we don't have to look one by one and put it into a database, but it gives us a lot of information that we don't need, a lot of metadata that's useless, and it's very hard to read. So we're gonna be using this workflow. We're gonna be using this workflow to make it better. First, what this node is going to do is going to access this database. Then it's going to extract the right information, the right data that we're looking for. In this case, we're looking for the ID, the phone, the website, the niche, the directions, and the business name. So we're trying to fill in this information over here. Then this node in that exact same database, so this one is going to start cleaning the information, so just ordering it. Afterwards, some of the leads don't come with websites, and it's going to be hard for us to find their email and contact them. So we're just going to be putting those to mark for deletion, and then we're going to be putting in a new database. So over here, a new database, a new sheet. We're going to be putting the final information. As you can see, I already did it, but now I'm going to be deleting this so that we can see it in action ourselves. So deleted. And now let's go ahead and test the workflow. Now, this part over here crawls each one of the websites, looking for all of the content of the website, looking for the contact email, extracting that contact email, and then pushing it back to this database so it can get enriched without us having to access each of the emails each of the websites individually. So let's give it a go. Let's see what happens. So now we're starting the workflow. It's going into this database right here. And as you can see, it's starting to order the data. It should be putting it one by one over there. Now, this is just going to take a little bit of time, so I'm not gonna take all of your time. I'm gonna cut the video right now, and I'll be back when it's done. Okay, it's almost done, but this is a great opportunity for us to think about this. I mean, just think about how much time it will take a human to go ahead and go each business, put the information, going to the right website, getting the right information, and putting it into a database. This is just a very lengthy process, and it's very low value task for your human capital. And if you have very low value tasks and your employees, it's gonna have a very low employee retention just because people don't want to be doing these kind of things. And even less now that everybody knows it can be automated. So now that this is over, well, it should be over in a second. What this is going to do is going to be in an if node, it's going to be checking if the lead has a website or not. If it does have a website, then we're going to go ahead and put it into our new database, the clean database. If it doesn't have a website, it's going to get branded for deletion, and then it's going to get deleted later by the team. So right now, as you can see, we're just about done. We're gonna go into the lead cleaning, and we're starting to see our lead cleaning, our lead cleaning, our database getting populated little by little. So this should take a little bit of time as well. So I'm gonna pause the video again, and then I'll see you in a bit. Phenomenal. So now it's actually going into the clean database. We're getting our Our database almost finished. It's 107 items, so only 15 of those leads did not have a website. So this is actually a good catch if we were fishing. I mean, we out of 122 leads that we got just from our niche search query, we got 107 items with a website. Now, out of those 107 items with a website, not all of the websites have email contact information. A lot of them just have forms for you to contact them. Then a lot of the websites, they are very big franchises that they don't require you to email. They actually have their customer login portal and so on. So from all of those leads, from all of the leads that have websites, then we're gonna be filtering all of the leads that have an email that we can actually contact. These usually are the small to medium sized businesses that are our target for market for this purpose. So right now it should be almost done. We're at 98 out of 107. I just love this process, honestly. It's incredible to think that I used to do this and it would take me 4, 6 hours a day. I would be bored out of my mind, and I knew that my skills were better used somewhere else, clearly. So now it's done, phenomenal. Now it's going one by one on the emails, checking each website. So crawling each website, extracting the contact information email, and then that's what we're seeing over here. It's giving us each of the emails from there. Now, when it doesn't find one, it should say not found. Or when there's some security issues, like whenever you're crawling a lot of websites, you're sometimes entering websites that are not as safe. They come up with an SSL issue, and then we also brand it as an SSL issue so we can delete that lead and not try to access their website any other way. So it should be done in a couple of minutes, but this is a great time for me to say that this is just a template. So like I said, I'm gonna be giving this away for free in my Gumroad profile. I'm gonna be leaving the link down in the description, so you can go there. It's gonna be pay what you want. So if you guys like the video, go ahead and be generous. If you guys think that this is useful for you, definitely come and get it. This can save a lot of time. Now, like I said, as a template, this is not for production purposes, millions of data. There's a lot of websites that contain information different ways. There's a lot of websites that block crawlers. So this is just a template to get you started. If I were to build a production ready template, you would have to go and check for the robot.txt, for the sitemaps, and there's very different ways in which you can get this information. But this is just a great tool to get you started, at least getting these initial leads that you can go ahead and then cold outreach or create another workflow so you can be called outreached automatically. This is just a phenomenal thing right now. If you're not paying attention to AI, just take a look at what's happening in the past weeks. And I wouldn't be surprised that by the end of the year, a lot of the jobs that are currently employing a lot of people are not going to be existing anymore, which means that humans will have more time to focus on higher value tasks rather than continue doing low value tasks as this one. Definitely don't think that as a business owner you should replace your human capital just for bots. Definitely always work with people, connect with people. You need that input of the minds, different perspectives, but definitely give your human capital better tasks to do inside of your company. Now, this is over. I mean, almost over. It's running the last few websites. Then what it's going to do, because it aggregates all of the emails found, we're gonna be spitting them out into each ID, and then we're gonna go into our lead cleaning, and we're going to start seeing our emails get populated. It's going from the bottom up. So you're gonna start seeing all of the emails getting populated. Some of them are not gonna be found. Some of them might come out with the SSL issue. So I'm just gonna wait until this is done and then the workflow is done. And it's finally over. This is phenomenal. I mean, in just a matter of minutes, we got a database ready for deployment into our sales team so they can start calling these businesses, getting us some sales. And well, now this was the demo of the video. So now let's go ahead and dive and dive right into how to build it. Phenomenal. Actually, rather just going in into each of the nodes and explaining it. So that way, if you want to connect something different, some other databases, you guys know how to do it. Ultimately, this is the template that will be on my Gumroad profile. So you're feel free to download it, as I said. And if you don't have any platform where you're managing your agency, you probably were like me before, where I used to have millions and millions of documents. That was my mess over there. So for example, here I had millions and millions of documents. This was my agency before, I had everything over here. It's a mess in folders and everything. This is just a phenomenal tool that I utilize. It's called Notion. Here I manage my agency. You can actually have nice little graphics over here. Um, this is where I work. I'm also gonna be leaving this template. This is actually a paid template, but if you buy this template, I'm pretty sure your agency management and organization is gonna be phenomenal. Great. I think it just got stuck. It should be saying that the workflow finished executing before it could be stopped. Absolutely. Awesome. So now let's go ahead and go node by node. This is just our trigger node. So if you start here, if you don't have any triggers, so let's say that we're in a blank canvas. Um, let's say that we're creating a new workflow here. We just start with our trigger manually, and that's that same flow we have over here. Now the next node we're gonna be adding, if you type in here Notion, we go over to Notion, we go ahead and we get many databases. We're gonna be connecting our credentials. I'm not gonna put that in this video, but it's pretty simple. In Notion, you just go to integrations, you get your key, and also every time that you want to integrate something, open the docs over here. It helps you connect any type of credentials that you want. Then we're going to be choosing the database page. We're going to be getting get many because we are looking for all of these database pages. We're going to be choosing our appropriate database, and we're going to be choosing return all. This is just because we want all of that, all of the contacts, all the leads coming through here. Now, as soon as we get that, we're going to be mapping it out. So let's go into executions actually, and let's go into the settings over here. So as you can see in this node, all you have to do is drag and drop. So let's go into the editor. What I just did here, I just wanted to keep the same ID. The ID is the most important thing you want to keep on up until the end because it's what's gonna help you match all of the data to the right database page. Then I just went over here, I found my phone over here, and then I dragged it over here. It's just drag and drop, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Then after that, I'm gonna be mapping it up into, so instead of get many, we're gonna be going update and we're gonna be choosing by ID. That's why we want the ID, and then we're gonna be matching each of the columns with the appropriate data that we want from over here. Afterwards, we're going to be conditioning this if. So if a website exists, so if there's a property in our website, in our extract data, if there's a website, if it exists, then it's going to go truth, and then it's going to go up this branch. If it's false, then it's going to go down this branch, and we don't really need that. So just for this, I just created the mark for deletion. We get into the same update. We use the same ID, and we just go on the website property, and here you should see all of the properties from your database. So we go ahead, we click. I mean, I don't actually have to use an expression. I just want every text to be deleted, so I can leave it as fixed. And that's pretty much it for that one. For this one, we want to create a database page because as you saw over here when we started the video, these we deleted all of the information here, so it was there was nothing there. So we want to create a new page for each of these ones. We don't need to put a title on it, and we're just gonna be matching the data again. um, actually from the extract. So we're gonna be just matching the data into the right property so we can push the data into the clean database. Once we do that, we want to add a loop. Why do we want to add a loop? Because otherwise it will send all 107 items to the OpenAI model. And what that will do will just crash the model. There's a limit on the tokens that you can use. Plus, it will be very expensive if you're just going through 50,000 characters and 50,000 characters. So we're just adding a loop node so it goes one by one. I don't know, it has a one over here. The URL normalizer, what it does is just takes the URL, the incoming URL, which is the property website that we get, and we're just gonna make it standard format. So this is just a sample prompt. There's many ways that you can do this. There's a code node that you can do this if you prefer. This is just the way that I found it works. So it just gives us this exact format that we need in order for the HTTP request node to get. So all we're doing in the HTTP request node is we're putting the method get, we're putting the base URL that we got from the URL normalizer. So we're gonna be wanting to send headers because a lot of the websites they block scrapers. So it will be, this is just an extra feature that we can do in order to bypass this. This is just your user agent value. You can get this with ChatGPT. You can just copy this one. It's pretty much standard for everybody and accept. As soon as we send that, it's gonna go one by one. If it has an error, we're just gonna be putting in the settings, always output data and continue using the error output, and we're not gonna link that to anywhere. Or you can link it to an error workflow where it just gives you notification of which of the leads were not good. Afterwards, we're going to be adding this code node, and what this code node does is it takes the HTML, it goes all the way through the HTML and finds the right email. Code has been working for me, and I'm actually using this for my business. Way, like I said, it's going to be on my Gumroad profile completely for free, so you can download it. As soon as we get that, it's gonna be getting us the email and the ID. After that, we are going to be adding a split out. With the split out, what we want is we want the email and the ID. We're gonna be pairing them together with the split out. All you have to do is drag email and drag the ID. That's all I did. And then actually, yeah, if you only have one here, you want to go ahead and include selected other fields. And lastly, we're just going to be matching by ID. We're going to be inputting the email, and that's pretty much it for the workflow. Now, I know I went through this very fast. I'm getting better at these tutorial videos. I'm also learning how to speak better to the camera. So if you guys have any tips or anything, it would be greatly appreciated. Once again, thanks for watching the video. I'll leave the links in the description and see you next time.